Hi, in this video, we are going to learn how to create a simple responsive navigation bar which fits on every screen size. But before we start creating it, I'll leave a link below to download the starter template. Make sure to download the template and unzip it, and let's start creating. After you have downloaded the zip file and you have unzipped it, you have this folder over here. So what I'm going to do is simply open the folder. So once I open the folder, I'll have my project directory over here. So I'm going to send my case over here and click, and I'll type cmd and I'll press enter. So I have the command prompt open. So I can open this in VS Code by simply writing code space then period, then I'll press enter. So make sure you have VS Code installed before you run this command. So I can maximize this and I can close the options. So let me zoom it. Let me zoom out a little bit. So if we open, here we have the index.html, and inside here we have the assets, and here we have the style sheet, and here we just have the logo. If I click, this is the logo you are going to use, and this is the style sheet. So if you open the style sheet, there's nothing really going on except for the fact that I've imported the font, then I've set the box sizing to border box, then the font family to the font I've imported, and here I've specified some variables we are going to use. We have the body, then we have the primary color over here. So I can put an asterisk sign, so make sure you have the asterisk sign over here. So this is the body color and this is our primary color. So this is just a pieces of comments. So once I go and then I open the index.html, what I'm just doing is linking the style file. So if we check, I'm referencing to the assets, then slash the styles, which is the style, then the main.css file over here. So let me collapse, and now let me collapse. So now we can start designing our navbar. So I can have a div which will contain everything. Then, so let me just use semantics by simply writing a nav. So I can call it navbar, then I'll press enter. So now we'll have this navbar over here. So I can go over to my main.css, then I can grab the body. So first let's try to grab the body, then I can give it a background color, then I can simply reference my variable over here, which is this color, that is the body. So next, set the min height or the minimum height to 100 viewport height, so 100 viewport height. So this means the minimum height of the body should be the height of the person's screen. So if I open, then I'll simply right click, open with live server. So make sure you have the live server extension installed before you run this. So I'll simply click to open with live server. So once I open with live server, you find out that the color of the body have changed to this color over here. It's a lighter color. To make it obvious, we're going to create a navbar and we'll give it a color of white. So I'll simply come over here. So let me just do this. So I can simply start styling my navbar. So navbar class. Is that the name? Okay, it's navbar. So first, I want to have a height and a width. So I can simply go to my root, then I can have a nav underscore height. Can I spell height? Oh my god, so height. So I can just make it 70 pixels. And then I can have a nav width, which should be 100%. So the height should be 70 pixels and the width should be 100%. So I can simply come, then I can give it a height, then I can reference the variable, then I'll go with the nav height. So I can have my width, then I can reference the variable, then I can have my nav underscore width. So next I can have the background color. So I like to just use variables, so I can simply have a variable. So sorry, dash dash Then I can have nav underscore bg, that's for the background color of the nav bar. So I can simply write white, or I can cancel the white and go with the hex code. So it's recommended you go with the hex code. So I can go with the hex code for white, which is just 3 Fs, or you can make them 6. So I can make them 6 or 3. So I can add another 3 over here. So I can simply come, then I'll reference the variable, then I'll select the nav underscore bg. So I want to position it fixed so that it will be fixed at the top. So I'll have a position of fixed so that it will be fixed at the top. So let me simply come. So this is the nav over here. So let me try to divide my screen. I'm not sure if my code is still visible, but I think this way is nicer. So what I'm going to do right now is, if you check, you have spaces over here. This is the default margin the body comes with. So to remove the margin from the body, I'll simply write margin of 0. So this will remove the margins over here. And if you check, we'll have the nav bar stick to the top. So another thing I want to do is to give it a shadow. So I'll simply have a box shadow. Then I can simply write the shadow over here. So I can have 0 rem. Then I can simply have 1 rem. So no, let me just go with 0.5 rem, then 1 rem, then 0. And then I can simply write any color. And if you check, we have this dark color over here. But the color is too dark and it's not nicer. So I can just write RGBA, then I'll open. So RGB000 means a black color. So you simply get this black color over here. But if you check, we have an A over here, which stands for alpha. So the A is used to define the opacity. So if I have 0.4, the opacity is reducing. So I can just go with 0.2 or 0.1. But I think now it's nicer this way. So now what I can do is simply increase it, and now we'll have the navigation bar over here. So it left our logo, then the links, then we'll have the buttons over here. So I can go, then I can simply increase this again. So I can go over here, then first we'll have the image, then I'll reference it inside the assets folder, images, then we'll have the logo.png. So if you click assets, image, then we'll have the logo over here. So I can have the alt text, which is the alternative text, then I can simply write logo. So I like to just put this / over here for my self-closing tags. So if I come, next we can have the links. So I can simply have a div, and inside here we can have the links. So I can have an anchor tag, and here you can simply write something like home. Then I can simply duplicate it. So if you hold Shift Alt then down, you can duplicate it. Then I can change this to about, and then over here we can have contact, then we can have team. So next up is this thing. So let me bring the design over here. So next is this line and these buttons. So I can simply remove the design. Then here I can simply write a div so that we'll have 2 separate sections over here. We'll have the first section, which is the logo, then we have the links at the middle, then we'll have the buttons over here. So I can simply come, then I'll have a button, and this button I'll simply write, is it sign up or is it sign in? So I think it's sign in. And after this button, we have a little line, so we'll have a line over there. And after the line, we'll have another button. So we'll have another button, which will simply write sign up. So let me simply open the design and let's reference. So okay, login. Even though I can use the login, but I think the sign in over here will simply match our sign up. So if we check over here, we'll have the button, the line, and we have another button. That's what we did. the button, we have the line, then we have another button. So we can start giving them a class. So we'll have a class over here. So this will be our sign underscore in, and this will be our sign underscore out. So this will be the line, so I'll give it a class of line. So here will be our buttons wrapper. So this will wrap the buttons. So I can simply call it buttons underscore wrapper. And here I can call it links wrapper. So links underscore wrapper. We have the navbar, we have the logo. So let me give it a class of logo. So a class of logo. So now if we open, then we'll have our HTML over here. So let's start designing. So I can simply go to my style.css. So if you check, we'll have the logo, we'll have the links, then we have the buttons. So I want to achieve that. So if you remember, we have the display of flex, which can be used to achieve this. So flex will simply make sure they are aligned this way. So after that, I want to push this to the last, then this to the last, then we'll have this. So this to the first, then we'll have these links to the center. So to achieve this, I'm going to use the justify content, then I'll use the space between, but I'll have spaces between them and then to push them. So next, if we check, our alignment is very bad. So I'll simply use the align items, then center, but align everything to the center. So now our design is coming to life. So next up, I want to have a pattern. So a pattern of maybe, let's write 1 rem. So I think 1 rem pattern is okay. So if we check, we are having the pattern and we are having the pattern over here. So next is our logo. So I'll grab the logo. For the logo, we'll just give it a height of maybe 50 pixels. So 50 pixels, and I think 50 pixels is okay. So now let's start designing our links. So first we have the links wrapper. So if we come, we'll have a wrapper over here, which is just to wrap the links. So I'll simply grab the links wrapper. Then I can have the display of flex. Then if I write gap, since it's a flex element, I can use the gap over here. So I can have a gap of 0.5 rem, but I'll have spaces between them. So let me increase it to maybe 1 rem. So 1 rem. I think 1 rem is okay. So next is the links, so individual links. So to grab the links, I'll simply grab the links wrapper. Then if I put a greater than sign, then I'll put A. It means inside the links wrapper, grab the child element. So this is the child element and this is the parent. So if I open, this is the parent, this wrapper. And we have the childs over here, which is the links. So this is how I'm using targeting those links. So first, what I want to do is to remove the text decoration, which is the underline. So text decoration of none. So it will remove the underline. Then next, I'll transform them to uppercase. So we can use the text transform. So text transform to uppercase to transform them to uppercases. So next, I want to reduce the font size. So font size of maybe 0.8 rems. It will reduce the font size, and now I think it's okay. So next, let's try to change the color. So color of maybe, let's just go with a black color. So I can simply to write black 000. So this means black. So we'll have the links over here. So next is our wrapper over here to wrap the sign up and the sign in. If we come, we have the buttons wrapper. I'll simply grab the buttons wrapper. So dot buttons wrapper. Then I'll give it a display of flex. And then next up, I'll simply give them a gap. So a gap, and the gap should be maybe 1 rem. So 1 rem. But that the gap will simply match these links over here. So next is the line over here. So if you check, we have a div between them. So the div is here, and the class is line. So I'll grab it. Then I'll come. Then I'll simply put the line to simply target the line. So what I want to do is simply give it a height over here. So I can give it a height. So for example, we can have a, can I spell height? So let me remove this and then I'll put the curly braces. So I can have a height, and the height will be something like maybe 1 rem, so 1 rem height. And then after that, I'll have a border at the left, so border left. Then I can have 0.1 rem, a solid border. Then I can give it a class. So if you check, it's already coming over here. So I can give it a class of ash, so DDD, so this color is nicer. You have this line over here. So what I've basically done is there's a div there, and then I've given the div a height of 1 rem. Then I've chosen to put a border at the left of the div. That's why we are getting our line over here. So if we check, the line is not aligned properly with our buttons. So to solve this issue, I'll go to the buttons wrapper. Then I'll simply use the align item. Since that is the container, then I can use the center to bring it to the center over here. So next is the sign in button. So sign, is it sign in? So let me check. So sign underscore in, so sign underscore in. So I'll grab the sign in. So first let me try to target all the buttons, because I want the style to affect all the buttons. So for all the buttons, I want to remove their borders. So I'll have border of none, so that I will remove the default borders over there. Then I'll have a pattern of maybe 0.5 rems, so that will increase them. So what I want to do, so what I normally like to do is to increase the pattern for the left and the right. So if I give it something like maybe 0.8 rems, so it means 0.5 for up and down, then 0.8 for the left and the right. So we'll have these buttons over here. So what I wanted to do is change the cursor to pointer. So once I hover, the cursor will simply change to pointer. So I want to also give them a border radius. So a border radius of 0. maybe 3 rems. But I'll have round edges. So let me make it 0.5 rems. So 0.5 rems. So that will be obvious. So now if you check, you're having some round edges over here. So next, let me then target the sign in. So the sign in. So for the sign in, I'll give it a background color of our primal color. So I can simply target the var, then I can have the primary over here. So now if we check, the color will change to our primary color. Then I can simply change the color of the text by simply writing color. Then I'll go with white, so FFF. This will change the color to white. So I can also make the text bold by use the font weight. So so font weight. So let me select font weight, then I can make them bold. Now if we check, the font weight is bold. So next is the sign up over here. So if you check for the sign up, so let me open the design. Let me just open the design. So for the sign up, we have changed the color to the primal color. So what I want to do, simply come, then I'll grab the sign underscore up. And what we want to do basically is remove the default background over here, which is this light color. So to remove the default background, set the background color to, so there's no none. So since there's no none, I can use transparent. Just make it transparent. So now we'll have this. So let me just increase our line. So if let me just make it 1.5 rem. So the height should be 1.5 rem. So I'll increase the line a little bit. So now next up, I want to change the color to the primary color. So color, then var, then I'll simply access the primary color. So this will change the color to the primary color. So now if we open, we are having our navigation bar over here. Let me just open the design and we'll see the design. So this is the nav bar. So next up, we are going to make it responsive like this, so that if the user tries to decrease the screen, to simply be responsive. So let's try to add the responsiveness. So I'll put an @ sign, then I'll use the media query. So media. So I'll have the screen over here. So I'll have a max width. So if the maximum width of the person is 800 pixels, that means the person is using a mobile phone or a tablet. So I can start styling so that this style will affect the navbar once the person is on a smaller screen. So I'll simply grab my navbar. So if you are on a smaller screen, so basically what I want to do is simply bring this down. So I'll since the display is flex over here, I can change the flex direction to column so that it will move from row to column. Now if you check, that's changed the flex direction. So next, I'll simply give it a height. So the height of the navbar will change to 100 viewpoint height so that it will fit the height of the person's screen. So now if you check, the design is coming to life. So next is aligning these buttons over here. So I can simply go up. So where is the buttons wrapper? So links wrapper and buttons wrapper. So we have the links wrapper. So I'll copy the links wrapper. Then I'll simply come. Then I'll target the links wrapper. And what I want to do is change the flex direction to column. So I'll have a flex direction to column. And if you check, it will change the flex direction to column over here. We are having this nicer design on mobile. So now if we increase, we'll have this. But if the user, if we increase, we'll have this. But if the user is on a mobile phone and then we decrease, then we are going to have this simple design over here. So I'm going to leave a link in the video description so that you simply send me your source code so that I can take a review at the source code and I'll give you a feedback. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.